Hello, everyone. Good morning to those who are in Asia. Good evening to those who are in Brazil. My name is Marcelo Duarte. I am Director of International Relations at ABRAPA, the Brazilian Cotton Growers Association. Brazil is the second largest cotton exporter of the world, and Vietnam is one of the largest textile exporters worldwide. Two of the most important players of the cotton textile business together today. And certainly two of the fastest growing cotton and textile producers of the world. I would like to say that it's a big pleasure to present to you the Cotton Brazil Harvest 2021 Roundtable in Vietnam. Since we cannot host our dear clients from Vietnam this harvest season like we normally do, this year's seminar will take you to a virtual tour to Brazilian farms as we talk about the main figures of the next crop that will get to the market very soon from July and August. Language by clicking at the interpretation button at the lower menu bar on your Zoom screen. You can choose the original audio, only English, Portuguese, or Vietnamese. Even though you understanding me in English right now, if your preferred language is English, make sure you choose English in the bottom in the interpretation button, because we're going to have some parts of the discussion that will be held in Portuguese. So it's important that you pick your preferred language. For those who will be speaking, it's important to say that we're gonna have some delays in the translation, so we have to speak slowly in order to get the full, not to make sure nothing is lost in translation. In terms of Q&A, we're gonna have questions and answers at the end of the webinar. And this is a very important part of the webinar, and we want to make sure every question is answered. So if we don't have time for some reason, your question will be answered by our team via email after the webinar. Please make sure you ask questions and they will all be answered. This event has been put together by ABRAPA, ANEA, and Apex Brazil, the Brazilian Trade Investment Promotion Agency, along with the Embassy of Brazil in Vietnam. As this initiative can only be successful with the support of these organizations, I would like to thank all our partners for being with us. I would like to give a warm welcome to our guests who will be part of the roundtable today. First of all, we'd like to welcome and thank Mr. Nguyen An Toan, Chairman of the COSA, the Vietnam Cotton Spinners Association, who is also a partner organization in this event. And it's a big pleasure to have you here, Mr. Toan. Also, we'd like to welcome Mr. Trung Vang Tu Wong from Thang Long Textile Corporation. Mr. Tu Wong was with us in Brazil in the ABRAPA Buyers Mission in 2019. We were together there, so it was a big pleasure to have you here and talking to us about your experience in Brazil. And also Mrs. Ngo Thi Dam from Puto Textile, and also big pleasure to have you. We talked before here. Thank you all for being part of the Cotton Brazil Roundtable. Cotton Brazil, as I said, receives a very important support from the Brazilian government through the Embassy of Brazil in Vietnam. And therefore, I would like to call Mr. Ambassador Fernando Aparicio for his welcome speech.
Thank you. Dear Mr. Julio Busato, President of ABRAPA, Mr. Tuan, Chairman of Vicosa, participants and organizers. I will begin by congratulating Abrapa for organizing this roundtable, which showcases the transparency and client-centric approach of Brazilian cotton producers. This initiative strengthens cooperation and helps deepen the business relationships between Brazilian cotton producers and Vietnam's textile industry that has the full support of the Embassy of Brazil in Hanoi and of the Brazilian government. Vietnam has become, in the past decade, quite an important market for Brazilian cotton, while Brazil has become an invaluable supplier to Vietnam's export industry. Efficiency and reliability on both sides of this equation are the keys to growth, and initiatives such as this one will help to sustain the momentum and build on it. Abrapa and its associates have been investing heavily in technology and logistics to increase the quality, yield, and reliability of supply of Brazilian cotton to the main textile hubs around the world. For season 2019-2020, the market share of Brazilian cotton in the Vietnamese market has almost doubled compared with the previous season, going from 12% to 21%. We expect this growth trend to continue in the years ahead as the commercial and political relationship between our countries matures and consolidates. Even in the context of worldwide sanitary restrictions due to the COVID 19 pandemic, Brazil has kept its pledge to maintain reliable supply of agribusiness products to global supply chains. This is a joint commitment of the Brazilian government and private sector. The Brazilian government fully supports the Cotton Brazil set of initiatives. The Embassy of Brazil in Hanoi is ready, alongside the Office of the Agriculture Attaché in Vietnam, to actively contribute to its aims and goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. Your endorsement and support, not only from you yourself, personally, but also from the entire embassy that has been fully supporting our project, is really important to the success of Cotton Brazil. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you, Eden, also that you have been great and as a partner to us. Now we move on to Abrapa, covering 99% of Brazil's cotton production and 100% of the country's total cotton exports. Abrapa, the Brazilian Cotton Growers Association, is a leading national commodity organization in Brazil, representing Brazilian growers domestically and internationally. I would like to call Mr. Julio Busato, President of Abrapa, for his welcome remarks.
Obrigado, Marcelo.
Thank you, Marcelo. I'm Julio Cesar Busato. I'm an agronomist, a farmer, and I grow cotton and president of the Brazilian Cotton Growers Association, Abrapa. I would like to thank Ambassador Fernando Aparicio and the whole team at the Brazilian Embassy in Hanoi for all the work and for all the dedication that they have given us in this Cotton Brazil project. Our partner, Apex Brazil, the Brazilian Cotton Shippers Association, ANIA, here represented by their president, Miguel, the local and partner association, Vicosa, through their chairman, Mr. Towan, and also Mr. Tuong, who I had the pleasure to be with in cotton fields here in Brazil. Vietnam is a very important country to us Brazilian cotton growers. Vietnam is the second largest importer of our fiber, with growing volumes in the last 10 years. To give you an idea, in 2010, 2011, Vietnam imported, I'm sorry, had 3.7 million spindles and imported from Brazil only 13.3 thousand tons of cotton. In 2019, 2020, Vietnam already had 9.7 million spindles, almost 3 times more spindles. And that shows the growth and the strength that the textile industry has in Vietnam, and imported from Brazil 300,000 tons of cotton. That is 22 times more in only one decade. Therefore, to us Brazilians, it is clear that Vietnam is a significant partner in order to increase Brazilian exports, and also for Brazil to be a partner in the growth of the Vietnamese textile industry. I was in Hanoi in 2019, and Vietnam had imported 176,000 tons of cotton from Brazil. This year, 2020, 2021, you are likely to achieve almost 400,000 tons. That is, you more than doubled your imports of Brazilian cotton in only 2 years. And this shows a relationship of trust, a relationship of transparency, a relationship of credibility that is arising between Brazilian cotton growers and the Vietnamese textile industry. The market share of Brazilian cotton in Vietnamese imports in the 1920 season reached 21%. And we want to grow even more. This year, in the first 2 months of 2021, we were the cotton origin most imported by Vietnam. Vietnam has a very strong textile industry and one of the largest in the world. Brazil is a large and reliable cotton supplier. We have quality, we are sustainable, and we are free from contamination. All Brazilian cotton is harvested mechanically. So it is an enormous pleasure to be with you today, and I wish you all a very fruitful meeting. Back to you, Marcelo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now it's time to start the presentation part of our meeting. We're going to today we're going to share information about the Brazilian cotton production, connecting Brazil and Vietnam, two of the most important players of the cotton textile sector of the world. We're going to cover the following topics: current season numbers, quality control of Brazilian cotton, next season forecasts, a virtual crop tour of Brazilian cotton farms, and finally, our roundtable session. Starting with the current season, it's that's the season that we harvested last year. This is pretty much ended. So 100% is being harvested until September last year. 100% gin. Ginning normally finishes in the end of the year. 100% HVI tested. So 100% of our bales were tested by high volume instruments. And 97% were sold by farmers and 94% exported. So pretty much the season, our 2020 crop that was marketed in 2021 is pretty much finished. And this was a huge crop. In this slide, you can see where cotton production is located in Brazil. And also you can see the graphs last season number. We reached 3 million tons of total cotton lint production, the highest number ever for the country. An increase of 8% in our production as compared to last year's almost 2.8 million tons. On the map, you can also see the location of the main ports, with Santos Port being the most important by far, with 97% of the cotton exports going through that port. 2021's exports will be finished in July next month. And the numbers are looking like they're going to finish about 2.35 million tons, with Vietnam responding to almost 400,000 tons of that amount. That's also a record. In the current season, Brazil should account for about 23% of the share of the cotton trade. And our main markets are first China and second, and probably Vietnam, with 17% of our market share. We talk about quantity, but it's also important to emphasize our strong focus on quality as well. Brazil is one of the largest growers of contamination-free cotton, and it has put in place a program called SBRHVI, which is a cotton quality control program that oversees quality in the entire country. This program was established in 2007, and this year analyzed 100% of the 14.2 million bales produced in Brazil. And this HVI analysis have the impressive level of 96% of results reliability. The classing is done in 11 classing labs that are located in the producing regions, as you can see in this map, and they are all overseen and monitored by a central lab that's located in Brazil's capital, Brasilia, the CBRA laboratory, which makes sure the results that come out of these 11 labs are reliable and trustworthy. Now, we are just about to start, we are starting to harvest our 2021 season crop. And our labs are ready to receive the first samples from this season. And now I'm going to show you and share some images and some testimonials from two of our 11 classing labs. Please, let's show the video of the two classing labs, Mato Grosso and Bahia.
Aqui, neste laboratório, nós somos
Here in this lab, we have been certified by SBR HVI and constantly monitored by CBRA. Our activities will begin in mid-July, and we are expected to conclude in February. Our team is prepared, waiting for that moment to begin the next cycle. We expect to analyze 3 million samples. This volume accounts for 100% of the cotton produced in Bahia, or 20% of the Brazilian cotton. The Cooper Fibra lab is certified by SBR HVI by CBRA. 100% of the bales produced by the jeans going through our lab are analyzed, are monitored, audited. We issue a report ensuring all these processes.
Talking about results, these are the final numbers of the 2020 crop that we call the 20. Besides being contamination free, as I said, the numbers of the HPI results are quite impressive. For length, for example, 98% of our crop was above 1.08 or 1.330 seconds, staple 35. And if you change the length and look at 1.18 inches, our numbers have been increasing a lot. Last crop, almost 90% of all bales analyzed, exactly 88%, fit within that specific characteristics, which means above 1.11 or 1.18 inches, an impressive increase in the last 5 seasons. Regarding micronair, 99% of our crop was within the range of 3.5 to 4.9. Strength, 98% above 27 GTEX. And short fiber, which that's a point that we've also been working very hard. We've been improving year after year, now reaching short fiber index below 10%, of 80% of the index of 80% of short fiber index below 10%, another impressive increase. If you want to see the total detailed results, please access the website downloads.cottonbrazil.com/quality report. There you have the detailed information crop year after crop year. As you can see, not only the reliability of the HPA results, but also the overall quality of Brazilian cotton has been improving consistently year after year. Now it's important to talk about next season, which is the 2021 harvest, a harvest that is just starting. But first, I would like to share with you our calendar, because it's very important that everybody knows what's happening at what time of the year. So in Brazil, cotton planting happens in November, December, January until February. So February will be the last month that cotton is planted. And then harvest starts normally in July and goes until September. So now we are just starting to harvest our 2020 crop that was planted in the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And this crop is going to be exported from July on, which means it's going to be exported in 21-22 marketing year. Now, let's see the video from our president, Mr. Julio Busato, talking about the 2021 harvest in Brazil.
Meu nome é Júlio César Busato.
My name is Julio Cesar Busato. I'm an agronomist, a farmer, and a cotton grower, and the president of the Brazilian Cotton Growers Association, ABRAPA. We are here in the state of Sao Paulo, kicking off our harvest season, which should last until late September. Planting conditions for this crop were challenging, especially in the states of Bahia and Mato Grosso. But fortunately, farmers have an incredible ability to plant. They are highly organized and they managed to plant their crops. We have reduced our planted area in Brazil by 17% as compared to last year, when farmers were trying to decide what to plant, cotton, corn, or soybeans. The profitability of cotton was quite compromised at the time. We were planting cotton at a loss. Cotton prices were below production costs. Actually, the final acreage could have been even smaller. But why didn't this happen? Because growers are aware of the need to preserve the markets we have captured and preserve our teams, people who have been trained and prepared to grow cotton, and to preserve all the investments made in cotton farming.
President Julio grows cotton in Bahia state, but shot this video in São Paulo state, where harvest has already started. But in Bahia is only in the beginning yet. Now, let's take a look at other states and other growers as well. Let's make another trip to Brazil. At this time of the year, Abrapa normally hosts many clients from all over the world to visit our farms, our gins, and labs. Since this year, this is not possible. We are going to present you now Abrapa's Virtual Farm Tour 2021, visiting farms around the country. So please now let's go back to Brazil to our virtual farm tour.
Esse ano a gente teve uma redução de área de algodão devido aos atrasos de chuva na época de plantio. Com o atraso de plantio, a gente vai ter uma colheita um pouco mais tarde em relação aos outros anos. A lavoura até agora ela tem mostrado de boa qualidade, muito bem conduzida, sem pragas e com certeza a gente vai ter um algodão de qualidade e com uma produção excelente
We
esse
will
ano.
certainly have excellent production this year. For next year, there will be an area increase. We will go back to what we did in 2019, 2020, where our acreage was a little bigger. Most certainly, rains will come sooner this year, and we will have a larger area than this year. In our region, most cotton fields come after the soybean fields. And this year, we had to plant soybeans very late because of late rains. So our planting window was between the end of January and early February. But we invested heavily in fertility and more modern genetic materials in order to offset that delay in planting. We hope to achieve good goals, good results. Like last year, we maintained the same acreage, about 2,000 hectares, and we will be successful this year as we were successful in previous years. Well, planting in Mato Grosso do Sul starts in the month of December, and harvesting takes place in the months of June, July, and August. The quality of this season, we bet will be very good, both type and HVI. We're going to harvest this field in dry conditions, and that helps quality. In Mato Grosso do Sul, we only have summer cotton, and this year in April, we had an atypical climate, severe rain shortage, but with different varieties, we were able to maintain good quality. The Brazilian cotton fields are developing normally, and we will have an excellent production and lint quality. Brazilian cotton production works to have increasingly better fiber. We work with genetic management in order to have an exceptional quality, in order to serve large markets. Any international market today can come to Brazil because you will buy good quality stuff. Quality-wise, we believe that this year our cotton will be superior to that of last year. We choose varieties according to the results of the previous season. We talk to other farmers, we analyze yields, we analyze the intrinsic characteristics at the gin, and we choose the varieties that will meet the requirements of quality and yield. According to the labs we have talked to, we have achieved good intrinsic characteristics of the lint produced in our state. We believe we can meet the requirements of the domestic and the international markets. And the outlook is very good. We had a good beginning of the season, thanks to the good cultivars we chose according to our region and our soil. The expected yield is very good. Obviously, we had to dodge the boll weevil. We expected more rain at the end of the cycle, and the planning for the 21-22 season has already begun. And we hope we can resume our average acreage, 2,500 hectares. We are part of a group of farmers heading towards sustainability because we grow with excellence, and that's what we want. We want to become the largest world cotton exporter. It is very important to convey to you, buyers of cotton on the other side of the planet, that in Brazil, we grow for a better future. 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 In Brazil, we grow for a better future.
I have I have seen this video a number of times, but it's really impressive to see. And I'm in Singapore right now, and I miss our farms, our farmers, and a tour around our crops. And I'm totally sure you, if you've been there, you always miss. It's a beautiful country, beautiful place. Now let's move on. Thank you. So thanks to our farmers. Thank you all. Now let's move on to our next season forecast. Considering the adverse climate, reduced rainfall this season, and also higher margins for corn and soybeans, the final numbers are going to be smaller than last year. We're expecting to see Brazil's cotton production to be around 2.36 million tons, a 21% reduction according to Abrapa numbers. This is mainly due to equivalent reduction in area since the yield is basically the same. The Brazilian government estimates are slightly higher at 2.44 million tons, roughly a 19% reduction from the previous season. So on average, we're talking about a 20% reduction from the 3 million tons from last season. In terms of exports from Brazil, naturally, we will see a slight reduction from 21 in 21-22, of course, because of the reduction in production. In the next season, Brazil's share of the international market will be about 20%. But as you can see in the graph in this slide, the projections of Brazil's Ministry of Agriculture show that our exports can grow more than 100% within the next decade. This shows a huge potential for the country to continue growing its production and also exports. As long-term perspectives are very positive, let's talk about the future. Now, our president will show Abrapa's long-term vision about cotton production and exports in Brazil.
As lavouras estão muito boas. Eu acho que nós devemos.
The crop is very good. I think we are likely to maintain the same yield that we had last year. Our expectation is that we will resume the area we had last year, or that we will be very close to that. It will depend on how the market and the prices of corn, soybean, and cotton will behave. For the long term, we believe that Brazilian cotton has an enormous potential to grow. We will need two things. First, a market to buy that cotton, and number two, profitability of our cotton farms. And that profitability comes from yields, production cost, and the price of cotton in the market. But most certainly, Brazil, in the next few years, is likely to grow a lot its cotton production. In the past 4 years, we managed to double the production of Brazilian cotton, and we intend to do that again in the future.
Now we move to our final remarks. So, some points that we want to emphasize here before we start our roundtable discussion is that Brazil is a long-term player in the international trade. We are here to stay, and even though the production is reducing this season, the 2021 harvest will be still the third largest crop in Brazil's history, even though it will be smaller than last year's. The medium to long-term trend is to continue growing production and exports. In terms of sustainability, 80% of Brazil's 2021 harvest will be certified by Brazil Responsible Cotton, which is eligible for BCI credits. We have a strong focus on quality with non-contamination free cotton with robust quality control program called SPR HVI. We have an office in Asia, in Southeast Asia. That's where I am right now in Singapore. And hopefully I'll be able to be visiting our clients in Vietnam as soon as the situation allows. And we have also a strong focus on partnerships. And that's why we thank a lot Vicosa for being such an important partner, local partner, and also the Embassy of Brazil in Vietnam. And if you would like more, learn more about Cotton Brazil, please take a look at our website, cottonbrazil.com. And we are also on WeChat, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also Instagram. Now, I would like to start to open our roundtable session to discuss how Brazilian cotton can add value, more value actually, to the Vietnam textile industry in the coming years. Therefore, I would like to call our guests back to the round table and so they can join me here today. Thank. All right. So I want to start, Mr. Towan, with you because you are chairman of this a very important organization and in Vietnam, Vicosa. And we heard a lot about, from our chairman, our president, Mr. Busato, how we working hard to improve our quality, how we are working hard to supply international markets with larger and quantities of reliable, trustable, contamination-free cotton in the future. And we want to hear from you is that considering Brazil's increasing importance to the Vietnamese market, what strategies do you think Brazil should pursue in order to increase its market share, continue increasing its market share in Vietnam as a contamination-free cotton supplier?
Xin chào tất cả quý vị đại biểu.
Hello, good morning. Yes, I am Nguyễn An Toàn. I'm the president of Vicosa Vietnam. We'd like to thank Mr. Marcelo Duarte personally, as well as APRAPA for organizing this roundtable to introduce cotton Brazil, and especially the production of the crop 2021 to the buyers, the clients here in Vietnam. We have spinners as well as factories and players in the garment and textile in Vietnam, and we'd like to say hello to His Excellency Ambassador Fernando Aparicio and Mr. Miguel Faust, and my partners and my friends from Vietnam, Mr. Tường and Ms. Dam. And answering your question, Mr. Marcelo Duarte, I'd like to share a few points. First of all, yes, we have watched the videos prepared by APRAPA and the numbers, the data that show the production of Brazil. Production in Brazil has been growing very significantly over the years, and we have seen that the export of cotton Brazil to the world and to Vietnam has been growing very rapidly in recent years. Up to 2019, the export of cotton Brazil ranked number 4th in the world, just after the US, India, and China. And the production increased up to 3 million tons, tenfold compared with 10 years previously. So it was a remarkable result. And the export of cotton Brazil and import by Vietnam, the numbers are also showing great improvement. By 2020, Vietnam imported 1.5 million tons, and cotton Brazil accounted for about 23%. And in absolute numbers, 339,000 tons. So it's just the second source of cotton in Vietnam after the US. So you can see that cotton Brazil has a very clear advantage in terms of production in the recent years, and cotton Brazil has also achieved good results in terms of exporting to international markets, and specifically exporting to Vietnamese market. So the growers, the producers and shippers from Brazil, as I can see, have been collaborating very effectively to grow Vietnamese market. And today, Brazil is one of the largest exporters of cotton to Vietnam, and you are just behind the U.S. Cotton producers and exporters in Vietnam. I would like to share a few recommendations from Vicosa to help you developing a good and effective strategy to expand your market share in Vietnam. In terms of direction going forward in this crop 2021, the production is a bit smaller compared to the previous years because of the price factor as well as the COVID-19 situation in the world. But I personally think and believe that the cotton growers in Brazil and exporters in Brazil would need to look for a longer term. You need to increase the production as well as export to the world, because the growers and producers, exporters in Brazil have been doing this very well over the last decade. And for cotton production improvement, you need to have concrete action plan to expand the farming areas, the improvement of the supply chain, as well as the improvement of the partnership between Brazil growers and your buyers, your partners from all over the world. So I'd like to suggest that you put specific targets for productions for the at least 1 to 3 years going forward, and based on the concrete targets, like production targets, then we can work more on the production, on the quality. Cotton Brazil has been certified and is appreciated for quality, but we also need to improve further. We'd like to talk about the sugar content as well as the viscosa indicators. We have heard from spinners in Vietnam that the key areas for improvement in cotton Brazil is the sugar content and viscose indicator. And I have seen from your presentation that you have a good quality control program, but I would stress that the quality control would focus on the on the reliability and sustainability of the micronair indicator. You need to have a good strategy to maintain the reliability of the micronair indicators in your cotton. So quality is important. We know that the quality of cotton Brazil is good. However, if the micronair indicators are not very stable across bales and shipments, then in the end, the mixing of cotton inputs in the spinners in Vietnam would have a lower. So we'd like you to focus on the sugar content and the micronair indicators in your cotton. And the next recommendation would be on pricing. We'd want to see your efforts in structuring or pricing your cotton to make it better for Vietnamese buyers. And in terms of market expansion, I can see that Abrapa as well as growers in Brazil have been working together very well. You have done events like the webinar today to introduce your cotton to more buyers in Vietnam, and I would want to discuss the possibilities to deepen and expand the cooperation at the associations level and government levels. Since we have His Excellency Ambassador Fernando Aparicio present here with us, we'd like to ask the ambassador and the embassy of Brazil to Vietnam to give us further support. We want to grow the partnership with the APRAPA and the growers. of cotton in Brazil. And we all know that we need to manage the COVID pandemic. COVID-19 has accelerated the e-commerce and the virtual partnership, the sharing of information and data through electronic means. E-commerce platform would enable more transaction and trades between the two sides, and we hope that with better communication we can faster the transactions and negotiation between the sellers and the buyers. I would recommend more digitization of our transactions, and we also want to support you in finding more partners and buyers in Vietnam, and we need to do more frequent events in Vietnam. So I suggest Aprapa to work with Vicosa and your partners here in Vietnam to organize regular webinars like the webinar roundtable we have today to update Vietnamese buyers about the price, the production, and the quality of cotton Brazil. The webinars discussion like this would help Vietnamese customers, buyers to prepare their own business plan and production plan. We need to have updated information from growers and exporters. We hope we can have similar events like this at least twice a year. And another recommendation for strategy development is on the support mechanism. APRAPA can consider to have technical discussion, direct technical discussion with spinners and factories here in Vietnam. This would be the technical, a kind of technical assistant or technical discussions. And we can discuss a lot of topics, not just the cotton. We can talk about spinners technologies because cotton, Brazil is exported to many countries in the world, and you know the market in the world, you know the technologies, you have worked with spinners and also technologies providers. So it can help us, the Vietnamese spinners and factories here in Vietnam, to adopt the best technologies and machineries to produce better textile and materials from cotton Brazil. Cotton is an input, but it's a natural raw material. So natural raw materials have special characteristics, and it can change over time. So the growers can help us, the spinners, to talk to technology service providers and others and spinners in the world to learn the best practices so that we can produce the best garment, the best textile and material and fabrics from cotton Brazil. And another point is about the financing matters or financial matters. Spinners in Vietnam are heavily impacted by COVID-19. So we wonder, and actually we would want to ask Abrapa to look into this issue. We hope that you can look to offer as a more flexible payment of financial terms to accommodate the challenging situation faced by spinners and buyers here in Vietnam. A few recommendations are from myself and from Vicosa, and we hope that in the near future and in the longer term, we can boost our cooperation and reach new heights.
Thank you, Mr. Tuan. Thank you very much for your, very complete. It was almost a consultancy to us. And I really like the part when you said that we have to set targets to continue increasing our production because the demand will continue increasing from your side. Definitely, that's the. So I would like to now move on and ask Miguel, president of ANEA, to make his comments, and especially on the first part of this, the points. Then I'll move on to you, President Julio, for comments on the second part. So Miguel, regarding quality, sugar, and micronair, how we can improve, and how you see that, and also how you see the growth, production, and the near term for Brazil. And Julio, I will move to you, regarding the partnership part, the event, more events, support, that part that was commented by Mr. Towan. So please, Miguel, floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcelo. Thank you, Mr. Tuan, for the comments. Good morning, good evening to the ambassador, Ms. Tam, Mr. Tuan, Mr. President Julio Bussato, and all the attendants. Well, talking about the quality, specifically, Mr. Tuan mentioned the issue of thickness and the micronair. I would like to say that the quality is an ongoing concern for the Brazilian producer and from the shippers as well. We don't have, we had a very few issues of thickness, but this is something that we look very closely. And when a case appears, it's attacked, it's discussed with the producer, and this issue is fixed. Not only the thickness and the micronair, but also the staple and the strength, and the short fiber index as well. These are all the intrinsic qualities that the producer is looking into in every crop. Every time he has to choose a specific seed that he's going to plant in his field, he will look into the best seed that will provide him the best quality. When you produce 3 million tons in a year, you may have some quality issues. The weather is not the same in Brazil. The areas in which the cotton is planted are very huge. So for one side, we have different qualities, from the best quality, medium quality, and the lower grades. But a few cases of high mics or other issues can appear, but those issues are attacked immediately, and for the next years, I'm sure that the quality of Brazil will always improve. Regarding the quality, the size of the forthcoming crops, I'm a little bit optimistic, and I hope and I expect that in this particular season, we already had some rains in Mato Grosso, that the yields are better, and that we're going to have a crop a little bit bigger than is being forecasted. And for the coming seasons, next year and the years to come, I think that the quantity will also increase. Abrapa has an objective to reach in 2030, if I'm not mistaken, more than 3 million tons of export, or 3.5, I'm not sure right now. Marcelo can confirm this data, but by 2030, Brazil wants to be the first cotton exporter in the world. So Brazil is here to stay in the cotton. Is not something that is gonna disappear. And we trust that important markets like Vietnam will be a partner in this forthcoming years. So we are looking to establish this long-term relationship with all the mills and cooperate as fast as we can with the mills in Vietnam. I think that's...
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, President Miguel. President Julio, would you like to add any points to this?
Olha, eu quero agradecer muito
I would like to thank Mr. Toan for your remarks.
Quanto a fazer mais webinários,
As for holding more webinars,
ótimo.
I find it great This is what we want as well. We need to talk more and better understand each other, understanding what each one needs so that we can make progress in our relationship and in our business. I believe by doing that, we can create favorable conditions, not only in our business, but we can develop a relationship of trust, a trust that can only go up. And we will do that through webinars, but our intention for the future is to send cotton growers to visit your industry, to see your specific needs and how we can improve the quality of our cotton and improve the way Brazil is selling cotton today. Every year, we take samples from US cotton from the USDA, and we compare with the Brazilian cotton, and our Brazilian cotton is controlled by our system. Well, last year specifically, we made that comparison, and Brazilian cotton is better than US cotton in terms of fiber length, fiber strength, and micronair. And we have the same standard in terms of fiber uniformity. The difference is the way US cotton is presented and classed, and Brazilian cotton still hasn't reached that level. But we are working hard on it so that we can increasingly reduce that difference with US cotton. And I'm absolutely certain that when we are better able to understand your specific needs and how we can help solve that problem, those problems, we will grow our partnership. In terms of more flexible payment terms, actually, we need to go after resources with financial institutions to do that, because as cotton growers, there is no way we can finance that. But I believe we can work together in that matter. Back to you, Marcelo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, I would like to move on to Mr. Tuong, because we had opportunity to travel together around Brazil in 2019. You were with us, and we went to Mr. Busato's farm. We went to Bahia, Mato Grosso, and now today you had the opportunity to see the virtual tour, but you actually did the in-person tour 2 years ago. So I would like to ask you, Mr. Tuong, to share your impressions about your trip to Brazil and what you saw, and what were your impressions before you went to Brazil, and what were your impressions after you went in the Brazil tour and Abrapa tour.
Hello, Mr. Marcelo, Director of Abrapa in Asia country. Hello, Mr. Ben Antoine, President of COSA. And hello, Mr. Julio Busato, President of Abrapa. And hello, Mr. Ambassador Fernando and Mr. Miguel and Ms. Motidam. And hello, all the spinning mill who joined the webinar. Brazil Cotton Roundtable. First of all, I would like to thank you Abraba for inviting me to join this cotton roundtable. So I would like to share my experience about the trip to Brazil with Abraba. So in 2019, I have chance to join Abraba cotton farm tour in Brazil. So first, my first impression about who is Brazil country is a beautiful country. When I got there, with many famous star, but the most important part is the cotton. So after the first day, the second day we got taken to the farm, and my first impression is with a beautiful cotton farm with the cotton there is grow in concentrated area. So uh, I can see that's the first and the second one is after we see how the cotton it grow there. We are taken to the lab to the ginning through the ginning mill. The cotton is sampling, and then the sample is taken to the lab. With the lab, we can see the very modern uh, with the HBI, the high volume testing machine, and there we can see how the sample is checking, and you can see how the sample is classified by visual and by HBI, and we can see that the the result is Brazil cotton result is reliable and transferable. So overall, my perception about before and after visit mm, Brazil to see the cotton, and there is Brazil cotton is very good in quality in terms of uniformity, strength, and micronet. And however, we need to, I'm agree with Anton, we need to improve the sugar content in the cotton. So, because I'm not only about the buying, cotton buying, but I also the manager of the mill. So I'm busy cotton Brazil. So I know how is uh, how is the quality, actually the quality. So if we improve the sugar content in the cotton, we can use more in the mixing. That's my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tuonos. I appreciate your come on, Bun.
Ô,
Is that right?
Marcelo, só,
Yes,
só
Júlio.
Marcelo, if I may, I'd like to make a comment about what Mr. Tuong said about the sugar content. When we conducted the HVI analysis, we didn't see stickiness in the sample. What we need as Abrapa and cotton growers, we need you to convey that information to us through Abrapa. And what cotton specifically, from what grower did that problem occur? So that we can talk to that specific grower, because sometimes, well, as you know, our cotton fields are very large. So it may happen in a specific plot where farmers were not able to control the piercing and sucking insects that cause that stickiness. But if the farmer does not receive that feedback that you found problems of stickiness, they will not know that the problem occurred. So it is very important for you to share that problem with us so that we identify where the problem occurred. Because we know that the incidence of stickiness is very low compared to the whole volume that we sell.
Marcelo, tem umas perguntas aqui, posso responder agora?
Marcelo, I have something else to say.
Para o
Ok.
nosso panelista, dá uma rodada primeiro.
I would like to turn it over to Mrs. T. Dam.
President Busato has touched one of the questions in our Q&A. And now I would like to move on to Mrs. Dam. Mrs. Dam, we'd like to hear your perspectives too. And thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here representing the Vietnamese textile industry spinners with us as well. Could you share with us your perspectives on how about Brazilian cotton and how we can work together and we can help the Vietnamese textile industry even more?
Vâng, xin được kính chào các quý vị đại biểu dự buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon in Brazil. Yes, I am working in Phú Thọ, Việt Trì, a province and a city in the northern part of Vietnam. And I would like to share with you our friends and our suppliers from Brazil. I would like to share about the issues we are facing with cotton Brazil. I agree with Mr. Tuan from Vicosa and Mr. Tường. Yes, I also have a concern about sugar content and stickiness of cotton Brazil, and this has created issues in our production process as sprinklers and machines. And you know the fibers stick fibers and fiber dust stick to different parts of our machines, and we have faced issues or problems as a magnitude when we have to stop our assemblies lines and use hot water or warm water to clean our machines. And it happened quite extensively before 2019. The issues was quite big before 2019, but in 2020, the sugar content and stickiness as a problem happened only with 20% of the input materials imported from Brazil. And I understand that the harvest of cotton in Brazil is fully mechanized. So you used machines for harvesting, but we still see contamination. We had found pieces of plastic with different colors, white, transparent, and blue trash contents in your cotton. And in our spinners, we have the technologies as well as machines to exclude or to remove trash contents and contamination or foreign matters, foreign fibers. And we still see foreign fibers and contamination in both cotton from Brazil and cotton from the USA. And I would want to emphasize that SFI in cotton Brazil is still quite high. You mentioned that recently the SFI has improved to 10%, down to 10%. But as I can see, it is still ranging from 11 to 12%. SFI of Western African cotton is only 7%. This year, this crop season, the SFI of cotton Brazil is still in the range of 9%. And you know, if SFI is high, then we have higher waste, and also higher waste. Our machines, our assembly lines need to stop for reconnection, And this has affected the production and productivity of spinners. So those are the key areas of concern. And I believe these would be the areas for future improvement for growers from Brazil and for Abrapa. And the next point, as I mentioned, I do believe you use mechanical and mechanized harvesting 100%. And 100% of bales are sampled and HVI tested. So as buyers, would want shippers to send us the HVI test reports before price negotiation, because we want to check the quality of each shipment, each batch of cotton before agreeing on the purchase price. And what I have seen is that shippers sometimes can provide HVI reports before price negotiation, but other shippers could not provide us HVI reports. They said that they could only provide descriptions or descriptive cotton as such. So I'm not sure what they mean by descriptive or description of cotton quality, but from the buyer side and buyer perspective, we'd want to see the HVI reports before negotiation. And in terms of bale characteristics and labeling, we want to see labels that have the description of key indicators like the production areas, the crop season, the grade or class of cotton, the number of lot numbers and bale number or ID numbers. FM FM as a grade, and the length is 1.32. We want to see on this data shown on labels, because these indicators are commitments by shippers, producers to the buyers. And we need to have the information on the label to check. Here, the label is like this. So you can see here, there's a code, a barcode, but there's no information, no data on key indicators. So for us, the buyers, we don't see the grade or the class of cotton. We don't see indicators on length. We don't see information on the crop season. And as a buyer, I can see that cotton from Togo and producers from Togo are very diligent. So the packaging and the labels are very well prepared. We have information about the crop season, the class of cotton, Anto or Anto F, and the length indicators are very clearly shown on labels, so we can check the quality and the specification of each bale compared with the commitments, the terms of our contract. So these are the key, I would say, the key recommendations are from buyers. We want to see your efforts in improving the quality, the shipping time, the lead time, and I hope that you soon have you would see we'll see better commitment to lead time in the future. We used uh, we used to have the lead time, the shipping time of 30 to 35 days in the past, but this year the shipping time has increased to significantly. Some shipments, the lead time was very high as 70 days. I understand the situation of COVID-19 and the negative impacts on shipment, but yes, the long lead time has created issues and problems on our end, on our production side. So we want to work and to have direct contact with shippers from Brazil, because we want to have transparent and also efficient communication interaction between the buyers and sellers. We want to give you feedback right away about the quality of your product as well as other issues. We are looking to build a long-term relationship partnership with producers and shippers from Brazil. So I hope that you will listen to our recommendations and will take actions to improve your quality and also your delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Dam. Thank you very much. I think we have a lot of things in common, Brazil and Vietnam, because both of our countries we want to be leaders in what we do, and I can feel, and we want to be better and better each day, and I can feel in Vietnam you have the same feeling. So that's the a common trace between our countries that will make certainly Vietnam a world leader, increasingly important in the textile industry, and also Brazil increasingly important in the cotton export business. So thank you for your comments. I would like to
Ô,
pass on to
Marcelo,
Mr. Miguel. Would you like to take the question, Miguel or Julio? Julio, please.
eu respondo primeiro, o Miguel vai responder sobre o
I'd
translado.
like to go first, and Miguel will speak about lead time.
Muito obrigado.
Mrs. Dam, thank you very much for your words, for your comments. 20% stickiness, I found a very high number. We really need to look at it.
Contaminação de plástico, nós
Plastic contamination, we are improving over time. We know that sometimes something may enter the process, but I can assure you that we are working to reduce that.
índice de fibras curtas,
As for SFI, the short fiber index, we are also working on it as the Cotton Growers Association.
de índice de fibra curta até 3 anos atrás.
Up until 3 years ago, when we didn't have that complaint, and
Onde está o problema?
we are trying to detect where the problem is. We have already identified that the biggest problem
Está relacionado
is related
à variedade
to the variety of the seed that we were planting.
temos
And
algodões, variedades de semente extremamente
we have some seed varieties that yield a lot, but that we are no longer planting, or that we are planting less because of that problem with the short fiber index. We are in contact with our seed suppliers for them
nos forneçam
to provide us with the better seeds that will yield more, but that will also provide good quality with the lowest possible short fiber index. We have already improved in 3 years since we started doing that. As for the traceability of the bales,
fizemos análise da HVI
we
fardo por
conduct
fardo.
HVI analysis bale by bale, and Abrapa has the Abrapa information system that was implemented 17 years ago. We know where each bale of cotton was produced, by whom it was produced, and where it was ginned. And all of that is on that SAE label. And now, with the SBR HVI program that we are implementing this year, you will have all the information that you mentioned on the label, provided the grower is part of the SBR HVI program. I believe that between 60 to 80% of Brazilian cotton will be part of the system this year. Some farmers still haven't understood the importance of participating in our program. This is why we won't have 100% of the farmers. But when you were buying the cotton, you may demand that the cotton comes from a grower that is part of the Cotton Brazil program with all the information provided by our system. Miguel, oh, one more thing. As to having a close contact, we opened an office in Singapore so that Marcelo can be closer to you, for Abrapa to be closer to the Asian market. And as soon as possible, we will be more present in Vietnam. Miguel, on to you to speak about transit time.
Talk about the transit time. I would like to say that you won't see the HVI result on the bale tag, Ms. Tidam, because the tags are manufactured much earlier than the crop starts. But you have the bale identification that you can cross-check anytime with the HVI reports. And I don't understand why your suppliers don't provide you with the HVI complete reports, because they exist. As you said, some merchants do, some merchants don't. Well, I suggest that you ask your supplier to give you the full HVI information, and I'm sure he will give it to you. But having this information before defining or agreeing to a price, it only works for the spot lots. Because if you want to buy 6 months ahead or 1 year ahead, and you buy a description, the cotton may not exist, the HVI doesn't exist, so you have to buy based on the description. And if whatever quality you receive is different from what you bought, you have the possibility to ask for a claim or a price adjustment or whatever. You can negotiate with your supplier. But if you buy on the spot market, yes, you can ask for the HVIs and then decide on the price. About the lead time, I can tell you that Brazil has made a lot of efforts and what concerns taking the cotton from the farm and taking to the port. This lead time, depending on the farm, is just a couple of days. Sometimes it's 3 days that it takes to take the cotton and it arrives at the port. Then you have the normal period, a couple of a week, 10 days in the port. And the big time is from the Santos port to the final destination. And that's something that we don't have much control. You know that the carriers are the ones that define the routes and the times that it takes from Santos to the final port. But we've been doing in the past is talking to them, trying to improve on the lead times on the ocean freight as much as we can. But frankly, it's not something that we have much to say to the carriers. Things got worse this last year, and times has increased. We hope that with the Brazilian economy doing better, with the imports increasing in Brazil and the availability of vessels and containers increasing, that this lead time in next couple of years will also go down. So, Marcelo, back to
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, I think we have to move on to the end of our event. Thank you. But before that, I would like to ask each one of you for your final words, if you want to say, and starting with Mr. Tuong. And you tell us what's your secret when you buy Brazilian cotton, you get all the HVI results. So, what do you do to get the results? Because all the bales in Brazil have HVI results. So when you buy cotton from Brazil, you always get the results. Tuong?
Yes, when we buy Brazil cotton, we have received a HBI result from shipper.
Okay, so it's just a matter of really working, and but we'll be Miss Dam. I'll be glad to help you through, guide you through, and in that sense. Okay, but thank you all, Mr. Tuong, Miss Dam, for your participation. I appreciate your feedback. It's very important to us. Very important. Now I would like to move and ask Ambassador Aparicio. You've been cautiously and with a lot of attention paying in our webinar from the beginning to the end. And now I would like to ask you for your final words before we go to our closing. Ambassador Fernando Aparicio, please. You're on mute, Ambassador.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to say that I follow with great attention the whole seminar. It was very instructive for me, very instructive, and I was particularly very impressed with the videos showing Brazilian producers. And as far as the Embassy of Brazil is concerned, I would like to reiterate here that we are here at the Embassy at the disposal of all of you to help in what we can in approaching Brazilian producers to Vietnamese importers. So count on us, count on the Embassy of Brazil in Vietnam. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Chairman Tuan, please, your final words.
Thì xin cảm ơn và rất là vinh hạnh.
Thank you very much. It's my great pleasure, yes, an honor to give the closing remarks for the webinar today. We have listened to a very interactive and interesting discussions. We have listened to the remarks of His Excellency Ambassador Fernando Aparicio, and our MC Marcelo Duarte gave us a lot of information about the coming crop and also data and information on the topics of interest to buyers here in Vietnam. We know about the projected production of this crop in Brazil. We know about the production, and we can work on our planning, business planning. The spinners joining the discussion today will use the information, the data to do our projection and planning. And Vicosa is going to put the information on our platform, on our website, we on our Facebook and LinkedIn pages, the social media platforms. We want to inform our spinners in Vietnam here about the production of Brazil cotton this crop season and the readiness for export to Vietnam. And we have exchanged a lot of ideas, including ideas for improvement. And I hope that Abrapa and all the gentlemen, on our friends here have taken notes of our comments and recommendations. And our friend Miss Ngô Thị Đàm hit a few very important points. And you know, in the past we had issues with sugar contents and stickiness in about 70 to 80% of cotton imported from Brazil. But now the issue or the sugar content happens only in 20% of the bales imported to Vietnam. And the SFI, the index has improved over time, and this is a very impressive. We hope that with the discussion we have today and more interaction between the two sides, we will deepen our understanding and our insights about the business of each other. Growers from Brazil, Abrapa, now have better understanding about the needs, the demands of spinners here in Vietnam. And Mr. Ambassador has made his commitment and the governments of Brazil commitment to support the trade between the two countries. So we have seen here the clear commitments from the government of Brazil to support the cotton trade between Vietnam and Brazil. So I would like to thank all of you for your time, your participation and discussion. And I can say that we have achieved the set objectives for the webinar today. We have covered all the topics and we answered a lot of good questions. So on behalf of Vicosa, as well as on behalf of all the spinners joining the webinar today, once again, I would like to thank His Excellency Ambassador, the Embassy of Brazil to Vietnam, all our guests, our hosts, for joining the webinar from the start until this moment. And we'd like to thank Brapa, especially Mr. Julio Busat, Mr. Miguel Faust, and Marcelo Duarte for your moderation and your answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Tuan. Thank you. Now, President Julio, please, your final words.
E a senhora Zaidan e o nosso embaixador.
Well, I would like to thank Mr. Wan We are here to improve the quality and the logistics of Brazilian cotton. We produce today quantity of cotton, supplying cotton 12 months a year, but we also provide quality through the Abrapa SBR HVI program, a contamination-free cotton that is equivalent to the US and Australian cotton. Our cotton has traceability using our SAE program and sustainability through the Responsible Brazilian Cotton program, which is one of the most complete sustainability programs worldwide, because it also includes environmental preservation and the Brazilian Forest Code. And we account for 36% of all BCI cotton in the world. In Brazil, it's almost 1 a.m., but I'm very happy for being with you this evening. I hope we will be able to meet in person as soon as possible. I hope I'll be able to hug you all. Stay healthy, and to close, we're going to watch a video called Brazilian Cotton Manifesto. Greetings to everyone.
In view of so many transformations in the production and consumption processes, Cotton Brazil represents a new step for Brazilian cotton in the global market. After 20 years of constant innovation, research, and investments led by Abrapa, Brazilian Association of Cotton Growers, its members and partners, it's time to offer the textile universe a raw material that constantly seeks to evolve in quality and sustainability. The market prioritizes transparency, and Cotton Brazil fosters Brazilian cotton, emphasizing its support of the environment and its promotion of social and economic development. In our scenario, advanced technology and agricultural management tools add to the dedicated expertise of trained professionals to develop precision, sustainable growing practices. Supported by its calling for hard work and the search for continuous improvement, Brazil remains one of the main agricultural suppliers of food and raw materials in the world. We value productivity. We pride ourselves on being the 4th largest producer, 2nd largest exporter, and the largest supplier of cotton licensed by the Better Cotton Initiative, BCI, in the world. And this journey gives us confidence to evolve and go further. Our field science is aligned with the delivery of a product increasingly in tune with the demands of buyers, spinners, and apparel manufacturers in Brazil and around the world. In Brazilian cotton, one will find proof of origin, traceability, quality, technology, sustainability, and now consistent year-round supply, thanks to a constant increase in productivity. Count on Cotton Brazil. Step by step, we grow for a better future together.